The night Taylor Schabusiness crossed the line. Green Bay, Wisconsin. A city known for its football pride, tight-knit community, and quiet, working-class neighborhoods. But in February 2022, a crime so gruesome unfolded that it shattered the city's sense of normalcy and left even seasoned law enforcement officers disturbed. This is the true story of Taylor Schabusiness and the horrifying murder of Shad Thyrion, a crime so brutal that it defied reason and left behind a trail of carnage, chilling admissions, and a courtroom spectacle unlike any other. Shad Thyrion was 24 years old. He had his struggles, but he was known to those close to him as easygoing and kind. His family and friends never imagined that his life would end in such an unimaginable way, at the hands of someone he considered a friend. Taylor Schabusiness was 24 at the time as well. She had a troubled past, drug addiction, erratic behavior, and a string of concerning incidents that hinted at something dark lurking beneath the surface. But on February 22, 2022, when she and Shad got together, none of that seemed to matter. That night, Taylor picked up Shad from his mother's home. They had plans to get high, to indulge in what had become their version of fun. Taylor had already taken methamphetamine earlier, a drug she was deeply addicted to. Once she had Shad with her, they drove to an apartment owned by a friend and continued their binge. At some point during the night, they returned to the basement of Shad's mother's house. This was where things took a sinister turn. According to Taylor's later testimony, they engaged in sex, and during the act, she introduced something different: chains. Specifically, a chain used for choking. At first, it was just a game, or so it seemed. Shad, possibly too intoxicated to recognize the danger, didn't resist. But Taylor had no intention of stopping. She tightened the chain around his neck. Then she tightened it more. And more. Shad began to struggle, but by the time he realized what was happening, it was too late. Taylor continued choking him long past the point of unconsciousness. Later, she would casually tell police she just kept going. When asked why she didn't stop, she shrugged and said she liked it. Shad Thyrion was dead. But Taylor Schabusiness wasn't finished. What followed was something straight out of the darkest corners of horror fiction. Taylor, in a drug-fueled haze, began dismembering Shad's body. She used a bread knife at first, later claiming it worked the best because of its serrated edge. She hacked away at his body, removing limbs, mutilating his corpse in ways so gruesome that even police reports struggled to put the horror into words. Then came the most disturbing part: what she did with his head. Taylor placed Shad's severed head inside a bucket and left it in the basement. His mother, who lived upstairs, was still asleep, unaware that just beneath her feet, her son's body was being desecrated. Taylor continued her work, spreading parts of Shad's remains throughout the house, including in various plastic bags. The sheer brutality of what she did left investigators shaken. She later admitted that she had planned to take the body parts with her but simply got too lazy to finish. The next morning, Shad's mother, Tara Pekanik, went down to the basement to check on her son. She could never have prepared herself for what she found. The first thing she saw was the bucket. Inside was her son's head. Horrified, she ran upstairs and called 911. When police arrived, they quickly secured the house and began searching for the suspect. It didn't take long to find her. Taylor Schabusiness was discovered at a nearby home, still covered in blood. When officers confronted her, she didn't panic. She didn't try to explain. Instead, she reportedly smiled and said, "That's a good question," when asked what had happened. When pressed about where the rest of Shad's body was, she simply replied, "Have fun trying to find the rest." She showed no remorse. No fear. Just amusement. Once in custody, Taylor Schabusiness was disturbingly open about what she had done. She admitted to killing Shad. She admitted to cutting up his body. She even claimed she had planned to bring parts of him with her but was too exhausted to continue. At one point, she laughed and told investigators she enjoyed choking him and that he wasn't fighting back. She also said she had intended to take all his body parts but had gotten paranoid and lazy. Her casual, almost indifferent demeanor left even veteran investigators shaken. In July 2023, Taylor Schabusiness stood trial for the murder and dismemberment of Shad Thyrion. Her defense attempted to argue insanity, claiming she was not in control of her actions. However, after reviewing the sheer brutality of the crime and her own recorded statements, the jury didn't buy it. The prosecution described her as a remorseless killer who took pleasure in what she did. They painted a picture of someone who didn't just act in the heat of the moment but relished in the violence. In the end, the jury took little time to decide her fate. She was found guilty of first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. At first, Taylor filed an appeal. Perhaps she thought there was still a way out. But months later, she withdrew it, accepting the sentence handed down to her. The case of Taylor Schabusiness and Shad Thyrion isn't just another true crime story, it's a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of people we think we know. A night that started with drugs and pleasure ended in unthinkable horror. A young man's life was brutally cut short, his remains left like discarded trash, and his mother forced to make a discovery that no parent should ever have to face. And the woman responsible? She sits in a prison cell, forever marked as one of the most depraved killers in Wisconsin's history.